How would you like to be able to get a 4 or a 5% interest rate today? Here we are at the end of 2022 and rates, I don't know if you might have heard that it's been a little bit of a roller coaster this year and interest rates have gone up significantly. However, we have an option called a buy down. So let's talk about that and how that works. My name's Dawn Robbins with Nations Lending, and I'm going to show you how you could save monthly your interest rate and your monthly payment right now. So let's get into it. So as we're talking about buy downs, what's a buy down? So a buy down means that it is a subsidy paid by the seller when you're purchasing the home, just like they would pay potentially closing cost. But instead of using it towards closing costs, we are subsidizing your monthly payment. And that can be for a 12-month period, a 24-month period, or even a 36-month period if we want to be all wild and crazy. So as we're talking about subsidizing your payments, let's talk about what's called a 2-1 buy down. So that means that you're buying the rate down 2% the first year and 1% the next year, and then you go back to your regular interest rate. So today, rates being in the 7% range, and just for conversational purposes, let's just say it's 7%. If your starting rate is at 7%, that means that on a, let's say we're doing a $500,000 purchase and we're doing an FHA type scenario with 3.5% down, and we're doing a 2-1 buy down. So that means 2% the first year, 1% the second year. That means that your first year, your payment would be at 5%, which sounds great. It's 2% less. But what does that mean in real dollars? That is $619 less. And if you look at the second year, that means your interest rate would go to 6%, and that would mean your payment would be $317 less. That's significant. So when everybody's saying, oh, it's going to be a 1% difference or a 2% difference, we got to put some hard numbers on that so that it really makes sense and understandable, right? So a 2-1 buy down, again, it has to be paid by the seller. One of the benefits is that if something were to happen, and let's just say interest rates come down this next year, there's a lot of people talking about forecasts and what's going to happen this next year. Truth be known, none of us know, but there are forecasters saying that interest rates might come down next year. If they do, then you could potentially refinance, and the balance left in that subsidy would be able to be applied towards your principal balance, in essence, helping fund your refinance. So that money comes back to you. It's money in hand right now. So that's how you could actually get in with a lower interest rate right now and have money in pocket. So now let's talk about if there was a scenario where interest rates didn't go down in the next 2 years. Well, in the next 2 years, you still had a $600 payment for a year and a $300 less payment for the following. You get my drift. That adds up to, and I'll give you the exact number, it is $11,246 for that 24-month period. So it makes sense, even if you think interest rates might not come down for a couple years. Secondly, from a seller standpoint, why would this make sense as a seller to do a buy down? So let's say I have a home that's for sale that's $500,000 and it's not really moving. I'm sitting there with 3 other houses that look like mine, of similar size, stature, etc., and mine's not moving. I could offer a buy down without dropping my sales price. That allows an attraction point for buyers to say, hey, I'm going to offer this. And instead of lowering my price $10,000, which is essentially almost the same exact thing, I can offer this buy down and bring people in and help relieve or alleviate those concerns of the high interest rates right now. So it's a great way to have your seller get a benefit, and the buyer gets the win-win too. Also, one thing I would say is if you have to make the choice between buy down and closing cost, so you're getting a credit, the money goes towards the buy down. And the reason being is you get to take care of the buy down and you get that money back. Whereas the closing costs, that is money that is for title, escrow, etc. So if you have the option, do the buy down. You can even do a 1-year buy down, and in that same example, that 1-year buy down was only $3,800. So let's just say I'm getting a $8,000 credit. I'll use $3,800 towards the buy down, use $4,000 towards the closing cost, and now you have a little bit of a credit towards both. That's assuming, there's funds for the closing costs, but you get my drift. You could even do a lender credit. We could go to a little bit higher interest rate and do rebate pricing. So there's some things that can be done. I think right now we are in a unique opportunity in this marketplace. There's this lull, and I think going forward, a year from now, 2 years from now, people are going to look back at this 3-month window and say, oh my gosh, I wish I had bought then. Because next year, if interest rates really did come down, and we're already seeing some moves in the market, but let's just say it does, the competition is going to be back in. So that means that if you are looking at that same $500,000 home, that to win the deal against 3 or 4 other buyers, that means paying more, that means not getting closing costs, and surely not a buy down. I think we are in a window of opportunity, and if you are trying to get into a home with little money out of pocket, this is your time. Go time now. And you really have up until January. Because what happens in January, there's a couple other things. Even if rates don't come down, let's just say we have a solid 7% for the next year, rental prices are going up. And the state of Oregon approved a 14.6% increase to rents starting in January. That means landlords can charge you 14.6% more if you are renting. And will they do that? Well, if anybody's a landlord, they're going to do that until they have vacancies. And when they have vacancies, well, then they need to subsidize and make sure that they keep people in their units. But right now they haven't been able to make money for the last couple of years. And I say haven't been able to make money, but I mean that they haven't been able to really raise rates. And there's this thing called COVID that actually impacted landlords significantly. They're going to raise it. So when people start getting that $250 increase or $350 increase to their rents next year, they're going to be back in the market. So beat them to the punch. Get in now. Don't wait. This is a prime opportunity to be able to buy now, even with the interest rates a little bit higher. So if you have any questions, give me a call. I'm Dawn Robbins with Nations Lending, and I look forward to speaking with you.